Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Dreamweavers podcast. Thank you.
Hello.
Nice.
Today we have Bryan Cobley with us. Hello, Bryan.
Hi guys, lovely to see you.
Oh, so glad you're with us today from all the way across in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for being here.
I'll try not to make a complete fool of myself.
We've done it
We,
plenty of times. You'll fit right in.
I was gonna, yeah, exactly. And I think you were gonna go ahead and start us off with a meditation. Is that correct?
Yes, I'd like to just set the energies. I always like to set the energies when we're doing energy work or meditation work.
All right.
Absolutely. And
So,
anyone watching us, even though it's recorded, take the advantage to sit down and tune out and tune in or whatever the right saying is. Thank
absolutely.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
Tap in and tune in.
Just finding a posture. Anyone who's listening to this meditation, allow yourself some time to relax. Go within. Put away the outside world. And take a moment to send away any energy that isn't yours out into the universe. And to call all your own energy back to you, wherever it may be scattered. Just relaxing. Being your experience as you notice your energy. Just make a note of your energy at this moment in time and how you might describe it. And then take a note of the energy in the room, all around you. And as you gently relax and let go of that, go within. Imagine the heart opening and these people present here at this present moment now are connecting their hearts together, heart to heart, through a line of light that cuts through time and space. We are joining our hearts with a line of light together. And whoever has joined us to listen to this meditation, you too can connect your heart. And as you do that, just noticing your energy as you allow your aura to begin to expand. Open the heart a little bit more. Relax the shoulders, open the back of the head and the neck. Just watching your thoughts now, letting them be there, but not taking them on board quite so much now. Just letting them float like clouds in the sky, passing by. Good, good. Allow your aura to expand, to fill the room, high above you, far beneath you, and all about you. You're setting the energies to go more deeply within, into a sense of stillness or a sense of presence. Good. Notice the shifts now. Notice the energy just shifting by itself. You You don't have to do anything at all. Just observe. Good. Relaxing the physical body a little more. Opening that heart connection a little more, opening the heart, letting that sense of light and flow and unconditional love just bloom and blossom. Good. Now, if you're male, imagine a line of light from the root chakra moving into the earth. And if you're a female, imagine a line of light from the sacral chakra moving through the root chakra. And this line of light touches into the earth and goes deeper and deeper into the earth as you connect to the earth. You're grounding now. Feeling more centered, more stable, more quiet. That line of light is going even deeper into the earth now, all the way to the center of the earth. Just imagine it moving to the center of the earth, this beautiful line of light, and connecting to a crystal at the center of the earth. Perhaps you might sense the spirit of the earth, the Gaia of the earth, the soul of the earth, that ancient wisdom, connecting more deeply to that ancient wisdom, to nature, to the mineral kingdom and the animal kingdom. To humanity, all sharing this one sacred planet. Now notice your energy now, how you have shifted your energy through this very straightforward and simple process of setting your energy, grounding into the earth, connecting with the spirit of the earth, the kingdoms of the earth. And as you relax even further now, slowing down, notice your aura, your chakras. Notice that by a simple act of intention you can make your aura more and more beautiful. The chakras flowing, open, good. And moving on this next shift now, a sense of expansion as you connect more deeply into the earth and allow that love flowing from your heart to pour into the earth, and noticing how the earth responds. Mother Nature, that connection deepening as you sense the beauty and the sacredness of this beautiful planet and all the living things, forms of consciousness in different expressions, abiding on this planet. Just being this experience and allowing everything to flow. And then gently, in a way, remaining in this space, and at the same time coming back more consciously into an outer directed reality, into the physical world as we come back, but leaving a part of us there connected to the earth. That loving presence, supporting and nurturing all things. Coming back then, slowly and gently, in your own time.
Bryan, you lead some of the best meditations I have ever experienced.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Whoo!
Ooh.
I know. It's
Yeah.
like, okay.
It's like the umbilical cord to the mother has just been like reestablished and re-recognized. You know, that was amazing. Thank you.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
Yeah.
it. I think that we're life is about remembering and forgetting and remembering and forgetting, and we spend so much time forgetting that if we just take a few minutes to remember and remake that connection, it can
Yeah.
really affect the way that we go about our day. You know, we can perhaps be a little more friendly with other people, or more chilled out and more relaxed, and let things unfold, go with the flow, and all those kind of things. I think that's something that we forget so easily. We're so easily caught up in the rush and the noise of life, and it's so
Thank you.
beautiful just to remember who we are.
I think that is one of the best explanations of meditation that I've ever heard is meditation is a remembrance.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I do sincerely believe that we're already in these spaces. We're also in many, many other spaces, which I would call vast spaces, or spaces of wisdom or knowledge. And we're always in those spaces. All we have to do is remember. And we remember through practicing various skills or techniques. And there are various tools and skills and techniques that we can learn, which really help us to make those connections and remember. And it's a process of unfolding, or the veils of forgetting falling away, so that we can just remember that we're already in these spaces. We were always there, and that the ego and the personality and the physical body is just a focus of consciousness. It's a focal point of that consciousness, which is expanding as we allow our sense of consciousness and self to expand and grow into that. So it's a process of just letting it happen.
And what is one of your
Beautiful.
favorite ways other than, pardon me, what is one of your favorite ways other than meditation to help you remember? Like, what in your toolbox other than meditation do you use the most? What's one of your other favorites?
Well, I mean, the tool that I use the most is, of course, the light body,
Mm.
which is a tool which is something I learned 2001, 2000. I can't remember exactly. It's just it's quite a while ago. I used to be I was in business amongst other things, but I was in business, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, driving around in my big Jag car, feeling very important, feeling very special, feeling very sort of moneyed, you know, and at the same time, totally and utterly miserable. It doesn't really work, you know, all this idea of, I don't know, they call it the American dream, or this idea of success doesn't really, I've learned through the experience of being successful that it is not, for me, what life is about. So I just gave it all up. And I was looking for a retreat. I was looking for somewhere to go to, I don't know, you know, chill out or find myself or find something. And I was trolling through the internet and up popped this thing, Awakening Your Light Body. And it was just as if a light bulb went off in my head. And I phoned up the person that was doing the course. There was a spare place. It was about, I phoned her on a Wednesday. I think the course started on the Saturday. But it's about 300 miles from where I live. But of course, you know, I could drive down in my Jag, like, you know, it was all right. But anyway, to cut a long story short, I studied with my teacher, Lita de Alberdi, who has now passed, unfortunately. But I studied with her for about 12 or 13 years, something like that, and ended up learning to teach meditation, Reiki 1 and 2 and Reiki Master, and teaching Reiki. And then also opening to channel and channeling your guides. And of course, eventually, over a long time of learning classes, how to teach the light body. I would never have thought when I phoned her up that day, when I was looking to find her a retreat, I would never have thought that I would be teaching that very thing, you know, later on. So that's a part of my story. And so as a result of that, I now find myself helping other teachers to teach the light body, mentoring people. I stopped teaching it, as I say, in 2000. I may not have said, but I stopped teaching when COVID came along. I had a class all lined up. And when COVID came along, I couldn't hold my classes because you weren't allowed to have group meetings, physical group meetings. So I decided that I would retire and put my feet up for a while. But I've always had some of my students, for example, one of my students does life coaching and Reiki and chakra balancing and tapping, what's that called? The EMT, whatever it's called.
EFT, I think. Yeah.
EFT, and hypnotherapy and all those kind of things. So I would go and she would give me some Reiki or some reflexology or whatever, and I would give her some Reiki, you know, as a sort of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your kind of thing. So I often used to go and she ended up in a way it's a bit like Who Heals the Healers, you know.
Yep.
She ended up uh, actually developing her life coaching and that kind of thing through us just interacting and discussing these things. So I always find it's a wonderful thing, you know. There will always be opportunity to express, and this is the important thing, to express your own light or your own note. We all have a frequency. Each of us has a frequency, and we have a note, and we find that, and then we just sing our soul's song. Basically, that's what we do. We sing our soul's song, and that's what I've been doing for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, something like that. Just singing my soul's song. But at the same time, there's been a lot of, if you teach the light body, or if you teach Reiki, or if you do all healing work, you do find that it's a two-way process. You learn as much from your students as what you might be offering them in their healing. They often mirror or reflect things. For example, I used to have people who would come to me for a session. They would sit on the settee and they'd talk about their relationships and how difficult they were, or this, that, and the other. And I used to think to myself, actually, my relationship's a bit like that. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
act,
Mm-hmm.
you actually begin to, your students help you to see things that maybe you've got blind spots to, because you're spending too much time helping other people rather than actually you've got to do your own work as well. So that's what I learned. And so there's a lot of things, a lot over a long time. I processed a lot of things, thanks to people who came to me for Reiki, people who came to learn the light body, people who did channeling on it. You know, they helped me to heal and help me to sing my soul's song, which I think is what it's all about.
I love that phrase, to sing your soul song. That is so beautiful and so evocative of what it is we do, you know, and what we should be, not should, but should's judgmental, but what we could work towards, and to bring ourselves into that alignment with spirit or universe or divinity or whatever terms people choose for that overriding source of everything.
Yes.
Um, and it's so beautiful. But I would like to know, because there may be people listening that aren't familiar with the term light body. Can you describe what that is?
Yes.
Yeah,
How long have you got?
hey, we're open.
Well, it was originally channeled by a gentleman called Dwayne Packer, who spent time in the desert, channeling his guide, who, over a process of time, taught him the fact that there are these evolutionary dormant centers within the energy bodies that are ready to be awakened. So there are various centers, everybody has them, and they're ready to be awakened. And you begin by what's called building your power base. It's almost like building an engine. And you learn to bring in energies from outside, from around you. You bring them in through what's called the new year, and then you begin to modulate them using some muscular contractions to give them some shape. Yeah. And then those energies move into another light body center called the Liao, which amplifies those energies. So those energies then become amplified. So you've got these energies coming in from outside, you're adding shape to them, you're amplifying them, and then there's a kind of a filter, which isn't actually a light body center, but there's a filter that hovers over the Liao. And any frequencies that are not uplifting or harmonizing or loving or grateful, any uplift, all of the uplifting energies, the harmonious energies, pass through this filter. And any energies that are not of that kind of quality, they just fall away. So what you're left with, rising to the next center called the Ranthia, which is a gently rotating, like like the doors, the circular doors that you push, that you go through, the
Yep.
rotating doors. They're like the Ranthia is like those four panes of glass, but they billow as the energies come into them, and so it gently rotates, and the Ranthia space just holds these beautiful energies that have been brought up from the other centers, and that's your power base. That's the beginning of learning to awaken your light body. The power base gives you access to energies, states of flow in the emotional body that allow you to begin to start to work with the mental body, which are the next centers, the Treo, the Paia, and the Renari cocoon. So there are all these various centers which lie dormant, and as you begin to awaken those centers, it creates more emotional flow, and then the Treo around the throat and the Paia in the center of the head and the Renari cocoon, they begin to create more flow in the mental body. Now, most people spend all of their lives in the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. And the beauty of the light body is that it gives you the ability to move out of those bodies into more of the spiritual body. And that's the process that takes place when you explore the light body centers, which are the Phelonia. It's a space, an expanded space, which is outside of the mental body. So it's much easier to, for example, connect with guides, or to find more expanded spaces, or to build your consciousness. I talked about you being a focus of consciousness. Well, your focus of consciousness expands enormously as you awaken the light body and move into the Phelonia space. And once you're in the Phelonia space, there's all kinds of things that you can do there to build that space, to add more detail and qualities to it. But there's also a couple of other centers, the Saha, which is like a kind of like a little sort of jetpack or a pump or a jetpack, which will take you into the final space of the light body, which is called the V, which is a downpouring. It's a downpouring point of light which folds down, and as it folds down like that, you are lifted up through this into this space of the V. The V space is a very sacred space. It's a very sacred space, and there are all manner of things that you can access in that space. So basically, it's a process of activating the power base, the emotional body. It's called the power base, or it's the emotional body. Activating the other centers, the mental body centers, the Treo, the Paia, the Renai cocoon. And then once you practice, you don't do this all in a couple of days. It
Right.
usually takes between 4 to 6 months, something like that, to do the final spaces, depending on how it's being taught. It is the most important tool or gift to humanity, as far as I'm concerned, that's come into the earth plane. It's the next evolutionary step for humanity, hopefully, over the coming decades. So I would highly recommend that. That's something that if you're drawn to, let me know. I'm Bryan Cobley Meditation on Facebook.
Yeah, we're definitely going to post some links for you. I have a
Yeah.
couple of questions in regards to that. Number one, um, what are the biggest benefits that people see by working their light body?
You mean
And
what that you see or people around you see?
well, the person who's taking a light body course and as they're going through the process and awakening their light body, um, what are some of the biggest things that they see?
When I was doing the class, my teacher asked me to take notes every time I ran the. It's called running the energies when you work these centers. These centers are taught by resonance. They are passed to you through a process of resonance. That's another story, okay, when it comes to teaching the light body. But my teacher asked me to keep notes, and one of the notes that I wrote down was that I felt like a snake shedding its skin. It's a process of it's a process of expanding. Um, you everything takes on a different quality. There are certain things that you learn even with the New Year and Dinya, etc., and the Ranthia space. There are certain things you learn there where you can be. If you just run the energies to the Ranthia space, you can to the Ranthia, yeah, you can be in a wonderful quiet space. And as you're at work or as you're working with people or as you're going about your daily shopping or whatever it is, people smile at you. People are quietened by your presence. That's the first thing that I noticed. I've always been a sociable kind of guy, but you do find that people somehow they sense that there's. Does that answer your question? There's something going on. So
It,
that yeah.
yes, yes. And then why do you think it's the best or the next level? Why do you believe that?
Because I haven't done anything else that compares to it, and I've done a
Oh,
few
that's a
things.
good answer.
Uh, 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 my teacher said I only teach things that actually work,
Good to know.
which was channeling, Reiki, uh, meditation, light body, uh, and she also did ascension work. She taught ascension skills as well, like the Merkaba, which is the vehicle of light, which is something that various other things that we studied. Um, the thing is, the thing is that it may not. It's not compulsory that you do the light body. It's certainly not something that you should do because I recommend it. It either resonates with you
Calling.
and clicks your bell, or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, don't feel that you must. Don't do it. No, people do it. If it resonates with them, they might do something else. They might do the quantum things that you're doing, or the Reiki. It's not. Anyway, I'm waffling on now. I don't
Oh
know
No,
what
no,
this
else.
is
it's perfect. We're
fascinating.
listening. We are
Yes.
we're all in. Um, I yeah.
You know,
I
it's so important to follow what rings true for you. And
Yeah,
that is such a refreshing thing to hear because there's plenty of people out there who are selling products saying you need to do this. And I say product, I mean different forms of healing, different forms of learning, whatever
or
spiritual
modalities.
modality, that's the right word.
Hmm.
And you have to do it my way or you have to do it this way because it's not going to work for you moving forward if you don't. And you hear that so much. I mean, it's the advertisements and word of mouth and it's refreshing to have it reiterated that you don't have to do anything. All you do is follow your heart and that will take you where you need to go and to
absolutely.
take that pressure off of people.
So right, Deanna. Absolutely
Hmm.
spot on. And one of the things I've written down on my notes is something that we have to cultivate. and that is to cultivate discernment,
Yes.
knowing when something is, uh, questioning.
Mm-hmm.
Question everything, including the questioner, is
Mhm.
Right. And you need to do what feels right for you. And the energy of the person you're learning from is just as important. You have to, and I do think people are just jumping from one thing to the other because we're in a state of spiritual evolution. And some people are, like the fireflies, and they're just like, I'm going to do this. Nope, I'm going to do this. Nope, I'm going to do this. And it's like taking that minute or month or whatever to sit down and say, but what is it that makes me sing? What is it that makes my heart feel right? And then just follow that path, and anything else that's meant to be there just shows up.
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And also, I think also the reason why this idea of instant gratification that we have these days, nobody learns to play the piano without playing wrong notes and without practicing a lot. You have
Right.
to practice if you want to be good on the piano, if that's what you should do, then you practice, and it's something that you love to do. You practice because you love doing it. And I think
Right.
if you're moving about from modality to modality, then you're never going to get the benefits of any of them, because it's like trying to learn 15 instruments at the same time. Stick to one, find out,
Right.
take if it resonates, find out what it does, but be patient. Do the work. Do the work. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Agreed 100%. One person cannot make a whole orchestra. And we have different talents, we have different callings. Many of us in this field, um, we're all called to help humanity, but there's no specific way for any one person that they have to do it. I'm drawn to healing. And once I realized that it's the healing that really pulls me, everything just flows after that.
yeah,
Before I was like, well, I'll do some mediumship, I'll do this, I'll do that. Nope, it's the healing. Right down to the core base is the healing. And so to be able to find that takes time, and it takes, maybe do some experimentation, check out something. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And it's just refreshing to hear that, because it's so easy for people to fall into this, well, you have to do it my way, or this is the only right way, or there's so many different paths to the same destination.
I think in my experience, um, with energy work, light work, etc., I found that it's been a process of adding these tools, adding things, adding skills, adding experiences, um, building, uh,
Hmm.
building a skill set, so to speak. And then after that, it becomes a process of dissolving, letting them go. It becomes a process of uh, shedding your skin or whatever,
Hmm.
letting them go and just allowing yourself uh, to. But I think the base for me, the basic concept. I don't know if you've read the Upanishads. There's a saying in the Upanishads which struck me. It says, "Who sees all beings in his own self and his own self in all beings loses all fear." I'll just say that again. Who sees all beings in his own self and his own self in all beings loses all fear. Now, that means that what you're looking at, when I look at you, I'm seeing the divine with your faces. When I look at myself through the mirror, or whatever, I see the divine looking at myself through the. You know what I mean? It's very, very easy to get sidetracked into this idea of getting better and better and better at something. That's good. But it's also very important to remember it's a question, as we spoke of at the beginning, perhaps it's about remembering, forgetting, remembering. And if we remember that everything you see, people, animals, plants, is sacred, then You won't judge because you're judging yourself. You're just looking at that person, a snapshot in time, and that's where they are as a snapshot in time. Okay, you might not like them, or you might like, you might judge them, but all they are showing you is the divine expressing through them through various filters that they have, filtering that one light, one consciousness into their own belief system. So and it's okay. I mean, it's not okay to go out and cause a lot of problems. But
Yes.
what I'm trying to say is that the only way that the world will grow or evolve or change or become more beautiful in terms of humanity is when people see themselves in other people and other people see you in them, in their self. And then is automatically compassion rises by itself. Love rises by itself because you're in love with the whole idea of everything just being an expression of one thing, what you might call it God or the divine or presence or stillness or consciousness, whatever it might be. But it's one thing expressed in many forms. That's all. That's what all we're ever dealing with, and we've forgotten that.
Hmm.
We've forgotten that as a humanity.
Mhm.
And perhaps we're moving into a time now where it's possible to remember it. Uh,
I think we are. I think
Uh,
we are.
I agree, Deanna. I think we are as well. So I think it's also interesting that you mentioned it doesn't come overnight. It takes time. And I have found that a lot of people who kind of what Deanna was saying, people who haven't been doing this work for very long kind of buy into that you need my modality, you got to do it this way or that way. They have a lot more parameters or mindsets um, that are not as expanded yet. And I have noticed, and especially in myself, that yeah, we all dip down sporadically, but the longer that you've been on this, and the longer that you have been walking a more spiritual path, the more it just kind of opens up, and you start seeing things from. You just keep expanding. Exactly what you're saying, and so I just think it's you're validating and confirming a lot of things for me basically. So thank you for that. Thank you very much.
I'm only telling you what you already know. Uh,
Well, I'm remembering again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
You
Uh,
know,
I
I'm
remember.
part of a group that meets weekly and talks about ways to bring abundance into one's life. And we're not talking about, well, money is a nice abundance, but that's not, it's a spiritual abundance. And I think this last time we met, the question was, why are you worthy? And it's so interesting to hear what people say because a lot of people will say, well, because I'm a good worker and I do my job and I provide for my family, or, I'm nice to animals or everything and everything. And for me, the whole answer is because we're all the same, because we're all worthy, because we're all divine. And I think maybe when people start to see that as not as complex as it seems. It's just a very simple concept. Like I think it was, and this is going back many years, Ruth Montgomery wrote some really good books. She used to channel, and I was a big fan of her writing. And I believe it was her who said that we're just chips of the divine. We're sparks off the light. We're all little pieces so that we all have all of these experiences, all these individual lives and stories to bring it all to the divine, like the cosmic consciousness of the all, which we all are anyways. And that's what really helped me at least start to see that we can live a life of compassion.
Mm.
We are human, so we mess it up too. But we can live a life of compassion. And by doing that, we end up with more compassion for ourselves as much as for other people, just as you're saying.
There's no difference. Compassion
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves and compassion for others is the same thing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
really think you're right. And it brings to mind how people will say, like, they'll ask, why do you help people? Why do you heal people? Why do you do this? And it's like, because I don't know if anyone ever really wants to say, because I just feel really good. It's a good thing for me. Where you want to say, I'm doing it to help humanity. I'm doing it to help other people, which is all true also. But if you boil it down, it feels good to us because it feels good to the people that we're working with.
Well, the
And
thing is that it feels good to love. Uh,
yes,
I'm
yes.
talking about love itself.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Being love feels good. Um, Being whole and complete is our natural state. Being healthy, being at peace, being content, or feeling safe, and that kind of thing, those are things that are our natural state when under the correct circumstances. I'm not talking about when you're walking down the road. Obviously, you've got to look out, don't get run over by a bus. But what I'm saying is that if we're at home, if we're in a safe environment, our natural state is a peaceful state. It's a state where we can just radiate. You just let things flow. And that kind of abundance, it's always there. Again, it's this idea of allowing ourselves to uncover it and remembering. And I don't know whether it's about trust or belief. I also think that sometimes we're quite attached to the story. I know when I was younger, my story was one of being a victim, like, victimized or bullied, or you know what I mean. You have a
Mm-hmm.
story, you have experiences where that that shapes your view of reality, and as you grow, you those experiences that are shaping your view of reality, they need to come up for healing. They have to be healed because we've nobody's had the perfect childhood, the perfect upbringing. Some have had a lot better than what I had, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's if we when once we begin to love ourselves, then we will allow ourselves to heal. We will allow what needs to come up for healing to come up and be healed, rather than it making us feel bitter about the world or want to get revenge or whatever it might be. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm just
No, you're perfect. You're spot on. In that same, have you ever listened? There's a person, Dr. Bruce Lipton, that I listen to a lot, and he's the pioneer of epigenetics. And one of the things that he talks about is exactly, you know, all of this that we're saying, which is he calls it the honeymoon effect. If you've ever noticed that when you're in love or you're falling in love with somebody and everything is going fabulously with that relationship or in that, and it could even be a new job, right? Like you're all in, you're loving it. You notice that everything else in your world is going amazingly and it just all starts following suit. And why? It's because you're exuding the love, because you're in the love and you're feeling it. And the moment that you step out of that is when everything starts crashing down or things start shifting. And then, of course, the human mind, all we focus on is the negative, and da da da. Yeah. But, it's all about that love presence. And he goes on to describe why that's important with genetics and stuff like that. But yeah,
well,
it is a true thing, and he's that just being in that love space, how much it just shapes and forms your life.
yes. The thing is that it's always there.
Mm-hmm.
It's always there. We just have to remember it.
And it's about
And
tapping in.
yeah, and we talk about self-worth or self-esteem or self-respect. All of those things have to. We have to sort of be, just. They're just people don't. Oh, maybe they do. I don't know. But I mean, to me, I find it difficult not to love somebody.
Mm.
I see people, and I just, my heart just opens up to, it's opening up to you guys now. Yeah, it just opens up. I just can't help it. I'm not doing anything. It just opens up.
I think a lot of people do. I think the difference is that we are, and this is just my own little hypothesis. Well, not without evidence, but anyway, this is my thought process, is I think everybody loves everybody. And when we engage with people, it's there. The difference is that most of us have been taught how to turn that off and to see with our eyes and think with our brain instead of feel and trust our own selves. That's just how I think. And part of the remembering is, yes, we have eyes to see, we have beautiful, vast brains to think and conceive of all kinds of amazing things. But they really only work if we tune in and tap into ourselves, because that is, the connection to be able to see and think differently from that love space.
The inner space is the most important space. That's where you experience. That's where you actually live. So why look for things outside of yourself when your experience is an inner thing? And if you start to
Exactly.
study and look at that experience of being alive, then automatically you know that the idea that happiness or fulfillment or whatever it is, it's not necessarily what you get or what you own. It's how you be. It's there all the time. It's free.
AKA the state of being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it being, just
I,
being.
yeah. I mean, maybe I work on the assumption that uh, I think I have a natural connection to mass consciousness. Yeah. Now,
Mm.
mass consciousness is the sum total consciousness of humanity, and if you tune into that mass consciousness, it is quite bleak. It's quite everybody's so rushed, everybody's tired, there's so much hatred. There's all so this mass consciousness, which and that's the kind of thing when I'm talking to mass consciousness almost. I feel as if I'm saying, look, can we just take a break from all of this nastiness and, us and them, and this need to be right, and jealousy, and, can we just take a break for a second, mass consciousness? Because if we could just stop for, I don't know, 10 minutes, that would open the floodgates as far as I can see. We're deliberately being kept like the hamster on the spinning,
Hmm.
spin, spin, spin.
It is orchestrated and deliberate.
It's orchestrated. And unfortunately, mass consciousness believes that's all there is.
Mhm. Well,
And
I think it's finally
that way,
starting to shift.
yes, I think it is shifting.
Well, I think that's why we're all here. That's why we find each
Exactly.
other. That's why there's so much increase, at least from what I'm seeing. It seems like there's a lot more increase in.
Mm.
We had the neo-pagan movement in the 90s, I think, maybe late 80s, 90s, where people were getting into like crystals and all kinds of stuff like that. And I think that the natural progression is to where we are now, where yes, people are still doing crystals and all that cool stuff, but also it's bringing in the higher consciousness with it that's behind it and seeing the picture as bigger than what we were seeing it before. Whether our human minds can even comprehend the hugeness of the all, but now that we have some more of that energy and that teaching behind it to boost it, And you know, people are talking all the time about the ascension, the spiritual ascension that we're undergoing right now, and that we've tried to do before and failed, and this time it's going to work. And when we see all that, I lost track of what I was saying, but it's just as you're connected into that mass consciousness, so many people are plugged into that, and it is so much easier to stay there than to actually work on expanding and looking at things in a different way, because the human brain is a creature of habit. And getting the spiritual part of you to really say, hey, let me drive the bus for a while, is a hard thing to do for a lot of people. And I think we're here, the collective we, to help that, to
Mhm.
bring these new things out there, to say, but it's still all the same. It's all the paths, all the things, and try to open that up, like you said, for even the 10 minutes, to
Mm,
let some of that light in.
mm. Yeah. I have a group that we where we work on trying to help to anchor these frequencies into the earth plane. They're the frequencies of peace, unconditional love, forgiveness, tolerance. We help to anchor them into the earth plane. And I think group work is the most important thing now. Um, because if there are four people in a group, then you have 16 times more energy available. It's a square, isn't it? So if you have five people, it's 25 times more energy. And so a group of six people, can hold an enormous amount of light,
Mhm.
and radiate that uh, into the earth plane, which is something that we do. Which, okay, I don't know. I have two views. I have two viewpoints of reality. My first viewpoint, and they don't contradict, they don't conflict. The first view is that it's a material world. You're born once, you live, and you die, and that's it. I can quite happily accept that. The other idea, the spiritual kind of idea, which is full of uh, questions and misunderstandings, is that you reincarnate. You're born, you die, you reincarnate. You're learning life lessons. I don't like that. I don't particularly subscribe to that, but I can be okay with it. Um, you're growing, you're learning life lessons. There's a plan for humanity. There's a hierarchy. There's angels. There's this, that, and the other. There's evil. All of that kind of thing. That is massive. It's a completely different ball game, and I think that for people who are stuck in the mass consciousness, so to speak, all of this stuff about spiritual stuff and reincarnate and chakras and balancing this and it's overwhelming.
Mm.
Don't make sense. So there has to be a way of just and to me, group work helps to introduce that quietly, silently, like stealth. Bringing, helping it to happen very, so that people don't freak out.
Mhm. I've seen changes in people in my own life that I thought would never open up to the more spiritual aspects of life, stepping from religion to spirituality, right?
Mm.
Because religion is a path,
Mm,
totally good for anyone who needs it, and I'm never going to say anything bad about it. But when you open up to add the spirituality dimension, and it just expands, and there's a lot of people are brought up to say, nope, this is the only way, this is the only way, and never question it. And if that works for them, I have no problem. That's wonderful if it works. But I think a lot of people are finding out that maybe it's not working as well as they thought, or maybe there's a second piece. I'm not saying people are leaving religion. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying maybe there's more to it that we haven't looked at. Like you said, it's such a massive,
mm,
massive other other thing going on that, kind of defies a little bit some of the things people are taught in their religious upbringings. But I've seen people in my own life who I never thought would ever look at things differently, starting to see things differently. And it's like, this is beautiful because people are learning you don't have to let go of your beliefs to believe something else at the same time, which is what you just illustrated perfectly, and because there's no one reality. There's no there's so much more. Um, and it's beautiful to see. And I think you're right. When we are all working together, whether that's each of us doing our own thing in our areas, we're all raising consciousness. I was in a room with 300 people chanting Om
Mm.
last year, and I can tell you, it felt like the world was gone. And it was just the vibration of the feeling of Om is such a sacred word and it's everything, right? And so what you're saying is it's like 5 people is 25 times more. I'm like sitting here trying to do, well, 300 people is massive and beautiful.
Yeah, the more, the more people that uh, just, I mean, I don't know if you've heard of the Quakers, about whether they exist in the States or not. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, they don't have a hierarchy or a structure. When they're in their meetings, they just sit around a table and it's completely silent for an hour.
Yep.
But that group energy of of the people that are members of the Quakers, that sets up a resonance. It sets,
What a concept, right?
yeah. And so they've known about, so the Quakers have known about the power of group work for a long time, 100 odd years, or how long they've been going. So I mean, there are things that you can tap into. Um, I think I think it's time for another meditation.
Yeah.
Are you ready to close us out, Mr. Bryan?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. How long? How long does it go? How long have we been going?
Yeah,
About an
so
hour,
yeah,
Oh,
we're
well,
we're
yeah,
close to the hour mark.
yeah,
But we would love to have you back.
please.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
great. I really enjoyed
yeah.
it. I mean, I just remember what was it? The Beatles. I mean, I'm old enough to have been
We
around
remember the
when
Beatles.
they're
Yeah.
when they're yeah,
We're with you there.
yeah, big give peace a chance. That was
Hmm.
all
Mm.
that kind of stuff. It's all still there.
Well, in that song, the way they said all we are saying is give peace a chance over and over and over again is just another chant to raise energy. It's beautiful. And I think that resonated with so many people in that time frame because that was when the switch was starting to turn a
Yeah.
bit. I mean, we had all these things happen to lead up to, the generations in the 60s, the 70s and beyond. And you're absolutely right. I mean, that song, that right there, put 5 people saying that over and over again, and it's going to be the same. You're going to raise the same energy. And, that kind of harkens back to people being told or thinking there's only one right way, or you have to do it this way or that way. You don't. I mean, you can literally sit in your house by yourself and just think the word love over and over again, and you're going to be doing just as much good as anything else.
Yes, and also you can sit at home and you can connect with your groups on the inner planes.
Mm-hmm.
And there are various grid works of light that have been built. There's a light body grid work for people who've awakened their light bodies. There's a grid work for that. There are other grid works, light grid, yeah, light grids around as well. So you can tune into those. Let's
Yeah.
finish off, shall we?
Okay.
Because um, perhaps we'll do. I hope people find our discussion really interesting. I certainly have. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Oh, yes. Well, before we end with the
absolutely.
meditation, I'm just going to say, like everybody is used to hearing me say, thank you for listening. We encourage comments, questions. We will answer them. We will have, Bryan, ways for people to connect with you. We will link to that. After we finish recording, I think we should get the name of the book that you pulled that quote from too, because that was really awesome.
Yes, what was the name of that book
Yes.
again?
Upanishads. It's about 3,000 years old.
Oh, yes,
It's a translation. Behold
that
behold the universe in the glory of God and all that lives and breathes on earth. That's how it starts, something like that. But
beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful.
oh, it's one of my favourite books. There are three. There's the Bhagavad Gita, the
Mhm.
Dhammapada, and the Upanishads, and the Tao Te Ching. I don't know if you're familiar
Ah,
with
Tao Te
the
Ching.
Tao
I've
Te
heard of
Ching.
it, yes.
I have the Penguin Classic translations, which I find very good. But I
Oh,
mean, those four books contain the secrets of the universe and creation. They're all saying the same thing. They're all
mhm.
we're all one.
I
Yes,
will make
and
sure to
it's,
link all of those.
yeah. So, to everybody out there in YouTube world or listening to us on podcasts or wherever you're finding us, always remember, be blessed and be blissed. And we will let Bryan lead us out with another fabulous meditation. So get yourself comfortable and whatever feels right for you. And we'll do this and we'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you,
Goodbye, everyone.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bryan, for being here. It's been amazing. This has
Yes.
been such a fun talk. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. As we go within, making that heart-to-heart connection. That line of light moving from our hearts to each person's heart here, and anyone who is currently listening to this meditation. Open and connect your heart with us. We're going to open ourselves to natural healing energies. So allowing your aura to expand. And looking at your energy now. The energy in the room. And just bring to your mind a quality of light that you'd like to bring more deeply into your being. A quality of light that you would like to embody. It could be forgiveness or joy, unconditional love, peace, beauty, truth, harmony. All of these energies are always available. Expanding the aura then. Moving with these shifts now. As you once more place that grounding cord deep into the earth. For men through the root chakra deep into the earth, a cord of light deep into the earth. For women from the sacral chakra through the root chakra deep into the earth. Just sense the shift as that grounding cord connects to the crystal of light at the centre of the earth. And then, in a way, looking up, calling in the light of your guide, calling in the light of your soul. Imagining now a downpouring of light moving through the crown chakra. Just holding that. We're just reminding you that the soul isn't in the body, it's the body that is within the soul. So the body is within the soul, and just allowing the physical body to recognize the presence of the soul and the divine, pouring its light, the soul's purpose, pouring its light through the crown chakra, through the throat and heart and sacral chakra, solar sacral root, into the earth again. Just allowing the self to remember. To remember. Just looking at any energies or emotions that might arise and completely accepting them without resistance or reservation or judgment. Any energies that might arise that may be coming up for healing now. Just allow these emotions and energies to be brought into the light of your soul now. Accepting them completely, not trying to fix anything or change anything or do anything. Simply allowing yourself to be your experience from this wiser, loving place. Just opening to that healing, loving light which is always available. It never judges. For some there's maybe some sense of guilt or shame or anger. Others it might be more gentle or subtle. This is the story that we tell ourselves, the story of our lives. And sometimes we can begin a new story, a new chapter. So consider for a moment that this is the end of a chapter now in your life, where you are right now. It is time to close the book on that chapter and to begin to allow yourself to flow into light, to open to those beautiful qualities of joy, radiance, light, remembering the soul, You may even sense other beings around you as you do this. Loving beings. For those of you with the Reiki energy, you can also bring in the Reiki guides and the Reiki energy and allow that to flow. And also, those of you who know how to send Reiki to other people, we can begin to just send that Reiki, offering it to this group and those who are listening now. Or any other qualities of healing. Let us just work as a group now, holding our heart connection to each other and allowing that heart connection and the energies that we're creating to add new strands of light. Each of you is a unique frequency, a unique vibration. You are adding tones, your tone to the group, your skills, your qualities, your gifts, adding them to the group. Your presence is so vital and so important. You are so loved. But let that group energy become more and more beautiful. Moving on these shifts now, as you sense your guides and your soul's presence and other beings, perhaps angelic or ascended masters, joining you, holding that space for this group, for humanity, for the world, pouring that light into the earth. Notice how you are held in this beautiful group light which assists with your healing as well, your growth and expansion. And finding the group consciousness, this group consciousness. Finding other groups who do this work, connecting with other groups that do this work. Connecting to grid works of light around the planet. Everything pouring light, harmony, peace into the earth plane. Holding that as a group, as an individual, blessing and loving yourself and the group, all the beings, connecting into the earth, nature and humanity, offering health and peace and happiness to all beings. Remaining present in this energy and light, remembering it, bringing it back with you into the physical, emotional and mental bodies, remembering that you have never left these spaces. You are always with the one light. And we thank you. I can't hear anything.